Have you ever had a moment when you held something back, not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom? Maybe you paused before sharing a thought, not because you had something to hide, but because you knew that saying too much might cause more harm than good. As we get older, we start to realize that peace isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Family can be a beautiful source of love, support, and shared memories. But let's be honest, family can also be complicated. The people closest to us often have strong opinions, expectations, and emotions tied to us. And sometimes what we share, our worries, regrets, or even our dreams, can be misunderstood, judged, or even used against us. That's why, after 65, knowing what not to share is just as important as knowing what to say. Now, this isn't about keeping secrets in a way that shuts people out. It's about protecting your peace, setting boundaries, and making sure that your later years are filled with more joy and less unnecessary stress. Because let's face it, you've spent decades taking care of others, worrying about what people think, and trying to do the right thing. At this stage in life, your focus should be on your own happiness and well-being, not on pleasing everyone around you. One of the biggest things to keep to yourself is your financial situation. Money is a tricky topic in families. It can bring people together, but it can also create tension, resentment, and even manipulation. Whether you have a lot or a little, discussing your finances in too much detail can invite unnecessary opinions, or even expectations. Have you ever mentioned a small windfall like an inheritance or a well-performing investment, only to find that suddenly family members have great ideas about what you should do with it, or maybe they assume you have extra to spare, even when you don't? And it's not just about others asking for money. Even if no one ever directly asks you for help, sharing too much can cause shifts in relationships. If some family members think you have more than them, it might change how they treat you. On the other hand, if they think you have less, they might start treating you like a burden, even when you're perfectly capable of managing on your own. Neither situation is ideal. Now, this doesn't mean you should avoid all financial conversations. It's important to have things in order: wills, power of attorney, and plans for the future. But these conversations should be handled carefully, with the right people, at the right time. Your financial security is yours to protect, not a family discussion topic to be debated at the dinner table. Another thing to keep to yourself is deep regrets from the past. It's natural to reflect on life as we get older. We all have things we wish we had done differently, mistakes we made, relationships we mishandled, opportunities we missed. But while sharing our wisdom with younger family members can be a beautiful thing, constantly dwelling on regrets can do more harm than good. Think about it. When you share past regrets, you might be looking for understanding, closure, or even forgiveness. But what happens if your family reacts in a way you didn't expect? Maybe they see things differently and don't agree that you made a mistake. Maybe they feel hurt or confused by what you've shared. Or maybe, instead of comforting you, they dismiss your feelings, saying things like, "Oh, that was so long ago, you shouldn't even think about it." Not everyone will understand your regrets in the way you want them to. And sometimes, bringing up the past can reopen wounds instead of healing them. The truth is, you don't need validation from others to forgive yourself. Letting go doesn't require a family discussion. It's something you can do quietly, in your own heart. And here's something to remember. The past doesn't define you. Your experiences, your mistakes, your victories, they all shape the person you are today. But you are not bound to them. You don't owe the world, or your family, a detailed explanation of every regret you carry. Some things are meant to be released, not relived. Now, at this stage in life, it's natural to think about the future, where you'll live, what your later years will look like, how you want to spend your time. But even here, there are things that might be better left unsaid, at least until the time is right. Because sometimes sharing too much about your future plans can invite resistance, criticism, or even guilt-tripping from your loved ones. Maybe you've thought about downsizing your home, moving somewhere quieter, or even spending more time traveling. Maybe you've considered moving into a retirement community that offers more support. These are your choices to make, based on what's best for you. But if you mention these plans too soon, you might hear all kinds of opinions. Oh, you don't need to do that yet. Why would you move away from the family? That sounds lonely. Are you sure? Even when family members mean well, their reactions can make you second-guess yourself or even put pressure on you to do what they think is best. But at this stage in life, it's not about making everyone else comfortable. It's about doing what allows you to live peacefully, independently, and in a way that makes sense for you. Of course, there are some things you should discuss with family when the time is right, especially when it comes to health and major life decisions. But timing is everything. You don't have to rush into conversations before you've fully decided what you want. Your plans are yours to make, and sometimes keeping them to yourself for a little while gives you the space to think clearly, without outside pressure. Now let's talk about something that can stir up more emotions than we often realize: your true feelings about certain family members. Over the years, relationships shift. You may feel closer to some family members and more distant from others. Maybe there's a sibling who never quite treated you right, a son-in-law you never really trusted, or a grandchild who only calls when they need something. These feelings are real, and they're valid. But sharing them openly? That's where things can get messy. Family dynamics are complicated, and once words are spoken, they can't be taken back. You might think you're just being honest, but honesty without tact can create divisions that never quite heal. Let's say you finally tell your daughter that you've never really liked the way her husband treats her. You mean well, you're speaking from experience, from love, but instead of feeling supported, she might feel hurt, defensive, or even betrayed. And if she tells him what you said, now you've created tension that might never go away. Or maybe you finally decide to tell your sibling how much it bothered you when they took the spotlight at every family gathering for the last 40 years. You think it'll be a relief to get it off your chest. But what if they just dismiss it? Or worse, turn it around on you? Now, instead of feeling lighter, you're caught in an argument that serves no real purpose. At this point in life, peace matters more than proving a point. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing your battles wisely. Some things, when said out loud, create tension that lingers far longer than the moment of honesty ever will. Now, that doesn't mean you have to fake your feelings. If someone's behavior truly harms you, boundaries are important. You can choose how much time you spend with certain people. You can decide what conversations you engage in and which ones you walk away from. But not every thought needs to be shared. Sometimes silence is the greatest tool for protecting your peace. And speaking of peace, there's one more thing you should be careful about sharing: your deepest fears about aging. Aging comes with a unique set of challenges. There are the physical ones: aches that weren't there before, stamina that fades quicker, health concerns that seem to pop up out of nowhere. Then there are the emotional ones: feeling like time is moving too fast, wondering how many years you really have left, worrying about being a burden to your loved ones. These thoughts are natural, but constantly expressing them to family, that can be more harmful than helpful. Why? Because not everyone knows how to handle these conversations. You might expect comfort, but instead you get dismissiveness. Oh, you're fine, don't talk like that. Or maybe they brush it off with a joke, not realizing that you were speaking from a place of real vulnerability. Even worse, Sometimes sharing too many fears can make others start seeing you as fragile, even when you're still perfectly capable. You've probably seen it happen before. The moment someone in the family starts openly talking about their fears of getting older, suddenly, the family starts treating them differently. More caution, more concern, maybe even making decisions for them instead of with them. That loss of independence can start with something as simple as sharing one too many worries. That doesn't mean you should keep everything bottled up. It's important to talk about concerns with people who understand. A trusted friend, a support group, or even a professional if you need it. But when it comes to family, sometimes it's better to show confidence, even when you don't always feel it. Not for their sake, but for yours. Because the more people see you as strong, independent, and in control, the more they'll treat you that way. And really, that's what this stage of life is about. Living on your own terms. Protecting your peace. Choosing what serves you and letting go of what doesn't. One of the most powerful lessons that comes with age is realizing that not every battle is worth fighting. You've spent years, maybe decades, handling family conflicts, smoothing over disagreements and trying to keep the peace. But after 65, your time and energy are far too valuable to waste on unnecessary tension. That's why another thing you might want to keep to yourself is your opinions on how younger family members live their lives. Now this one can be tricky because when you care about someone, it's natural to want to guide them. Maybe you see your grandson making the same financial mistakes you did in your 30s. Maybe your daughter is in a relationship that reminds you of a painful chapter in your own life. Or maybe your niece has a completely different approach to raising her kids, one that, in your eyes, just doesn't make sense. The urge to give advice, to step in and fix things, can be strong. But here's the reality. Most people don't want advice unless they ask for it. And when advice is given uninvited, it often gets ignored. Or worse, it creates distance. Think about a time in your own life when someone older than you tried to tell you what to do. Did it make you change your mind? Or did it make you feel frustrated, even a little rebellious? The truth is, everyone has to learn in their own way, at their own pace. And when you hold back from sharing every opinion, you're not withholding wisdom. You're allowing others the space to grow on their own. This doesn't mean you should never share your thoughts. If someone comes to you and says, "What do you think I should do?" then, by all means, share your experience. But if no one is asking, that's your sign to step back, save your energy, protect your peace. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop offering advice at every turn, something interesting happens. Instead of pushing people away, you actually draw them closer. Because when people know you won't judge or lecture them, they feel safe around you. And when they feel safe, they want to talk to you. They value your presence, your stories, your wisdom, not because you force it on them, but because they know they can come to you when they're ready. Now, speaking of wisdom, there's one final thing that deserves to be handled with care: your true thoughts about the end of life. This is a topic most people avoid, but as we age, it becomes more and more real. You might find yourself reflecting on what's next, what happens after this life, how you want your final years to look, or even practical matters like funeral plans and wills. And while some of these conversations are necessary, not all of them need to be shared openly with family. Why? Because the way you think and feel about these things is deeply personal. And not everyone in your family will be able to handle these discussions in the way you need them to. Some may brush it off. "Oh, don't talk like that. You'll be around forever." Others may become overly emotional, making it impossible to have a calm, rational conversation. And, in some cases, sharing too much about your end-of-life preferences can lead to family members disagreeing about what's best for you, creating conflict instead of clarity. The key here is balance. Yes, it's important to have your affairs in order. Yes, you should communicate essential decisions when the time is right. But beyond that, you don't owe anyone constant updates on your deepest thoughts about life and death. Some reflections are meant for your own heart, your own peace of mind. At this stage, your priority should be living, not constantly preparing for the end. You still have time to laugh, to explore, to love, to grow. And by focusing on the joy that's still ahead of you, you create a life that's not just peaceful, but truly fulfilling. And that's the real secret, isn't it? It's not just about what you don't share. It's about what you choose to focus on instead. Less stress, fewer unnecessary conversations, more time spent in the present moment. That's what a peaceful life looks like after 65. And that's exactly what you deserve. So now, tell me, what's one thing you've learned about protecting your peace as you've gotten older? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this video resonated with you, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more wisdom on living your best life at any age. Here's to peace, happiness, and the freedom to live on your own terms. Always.